Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective, where you get a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. Happy Thursday. It is Thursday, my Friday for the show. How is everyone? How is everyone today? Just checking in. It's almost the weekend. It's Friday light, Friday Eve, however you want to look at it. Deep breaths, right? So this week we talked about mana, which is your spiritual strength or your strength, your warrior power, right? We talked about and we talked about ha breathing. And today and yesterday we kind of even previewed just a little bit aloha. And just as it says right here, aloha equals helping others, to say I'm available, sometimes with acts as simple as sharing an umbrella or a meal. Aloha is about giving without expectation of return. It keeps the balance. It maintains the equilibrium. Aloha is a balance. Ho'oponopono can bring you back to center. And remember, I talked about the chakras. Not the chakras, but the chakras. So anyways, good morning, cousin. Good morning, Muddy. I forgot to wake up older sibling. Ooh, whoops. Okay, so anyways, my bad. All right, so let's get going. I did find a show for next week, believe it or not. It is okay, I had a pen around here. Oh, there it is. I found something. I swear I thought I had done it, but I guess I didn't. Happiness anchors. I think I had intended to do it, and you guys know me, my brain squirrels, and it went in a completely different direction. So it was during Pride Week that I did, so I think I had intended to go back to it and then never did, but just wrote it down. So we'll be doing that next week, because that looks like it is going to be that looks like it's going to be a full week thing, because we also have task paralysis equals not ordinary advice. So yeah. So anyways, let's get going. Let's get going with, oh, she's awake. Good morning, older sibling. So sorry. So sorry. I was, I'll be honest with you, it's raining today, as my cousin Jeannie can attest to, just over that way. And I'm just, I love rain. So I just got completely mesmerized and just forgot. Accountability, just forgot. So anyways, aloha. So like I said, we talked about mana, we talked about ha, we talked about ha breathing. We had a bit of a preview of aloha yesterday while we covered the other two things in more of a comprehensive how to breathe sort of way. So and even Sammy said she started doing the ha breathing. Now here's the question I have for you guys for when I'm done reading through aloha, my research on aloha. I know you're like, how do you research a feeling? It's not hard. Bless you. My father just sneezed. Anyways, sorry, I had to close my window, so it is a little humid. But did all of you come up with something? Did all of you come up with something? That's so funny. Sibling says she's been awake since 4 a.m. I've been up since 4:35. That's when I heard the rain, and I thought it was going to make me, you know how like you hear water when you're asleep and then you have to pee. I thought I was going to get up and have to, but I didn't. I think it was just like, Shelly Marie, it's raining, wake up. So anyways, I keep doing that. I'm going to make my hair frizzy, but sorry. I know I've been getting up late this week, so my hair is still wet when I start the show. Anyways, okay. Did any of you come up with how you show aloha? I know you all have this. I have examples for pretty much all of you, okay? But I wanted to know if you all came up with your own spirit of aloha and how you show aloha outside, you know, of your home, in your own communities, in your church, wherever you may wander. So I'm hoping you guys jump in and share some. And feel free to share while I'm talking. I'll read them after if you have any. And you know what? Don't be shy. I know people are always saying, well, you know, it's bad to toot our own horns. No, you're not tooting your own horns. You are literally giving examples of the meaning of aloha. You are giving examples of the acts of kindness, whether big or small, that, truly affect other people, even if they don't realize it or even if they don't know it. All right. So aloha. No, I'm not saying goodbye. Aloha, Hawaiian word for love, affection, peace, compassion, and mercy, or, as many know it, hello and goodbye. In a deeper cultural sense, the term is used to define a force that holds together existence. Again, aloha is not just a word, it is a feeling. It's not just a greeting, it is a feeling, okay? Oh, and here's my next one. It's not just a word, it is a feeling, a way of life. So see, I know myself well. To live aloha is to encompass the feeling for all living things, at least to me it is. It's an ethical way of caring and respecting all people, all elements of the land that is wrapped in aloha, in love, mercy, and compassion. Queen Liliuokalani is known to have said, aloha is to learn what is not said, to see what cannot be seen, and to know the unknowable. So again, Queen Liliuokalani, she was the last reigning monarch of Hawaii, basically overthrown in a coup by plantation owners and people that had, come under the, I don't know. I can go in a whole different direction on that one. I better not. So let's keep it in aloha, all right? Because that's what Queen Liliuokalani would want us to do. So again, she has said, aloha is to learn what is not said, to see what cannot be seen, and to know the unknowable. Aloha is also an energy exchange, the giving and receiving of positive energy. Okay, I'm going to go back over these. And aloha has been described as the coordination of the heart and mind to foster connectivity and peace. Excuse me. So let's go back to the top. Aloha, Hawaiian word for love, affection, peace, compassion, and mercy, or as many know it, hello and goodbye. So you say aloha or aloha, and but in a cultural sense, the term is used to define a force that holds existence together. So this is where they all come together. Mana is your spiritual power. It's your warrior strength. It's your inner strength, that inner power that you have. The ha breathing helps you bring that back to center, helps you fill up that mana cup, right? In order for you to serve aloha, to serve with aloha, to serve from aloha. And I don't want to say serve like, you have to be a slave to the world. No, what I mean is like being of service to people, or just even yourself. You cannot function on an empty cup. Why would you want to? And even if you have the world's busiest life, ha breathing can help bring you back to that. There's no mistake that ha is part of aloha, that ha is part of Hawaii. It's not, because it is a way of life. It is your job, the joy of being. Yes, it's Cousin Jeannie said, to be a blessing to others and to be blessed by others. And here's the thing, when you are to be a blessing to others, you're not looking for reciprocation. What you're doing is you're just giving. And aloha, like karma, is bringing it back to you. But what makes karma a little bit different from aloha is karma is an action due to an action. It's kind of the consequence of an action, right? So sharing aloha, you get good karma back. But aloha is a feeling. It is a spiritual move, all right? It's like a spiritual chess move. And again, just to define this, spirituality is not necessarily religious. Spirituality could be you being, a metaphysician, you being into the metaphysical, you having whoever out there that you turn your focus to. When we think spirituality, we generally think religion. But spirituality is, in a way, like aloha. It is its own thing. It is love. It is compassion. It is mercy. It is that power within you that helps you do the things that you love to do, that reminds you to refocus on the things that bring you joy, that bring you, back to your center. And we shorten spirituality into aloha. And again, this is just my own perspective. This is just my own, representation of what I believe the word is to mean, along with what, we can Google all day long, and what I've learned throughout my life growing up in the Hawaiian culture. And, and it was funny because here's the thing. I was talking about this yesterday, and how, or maybe it was the other day, how I was born in Hawaii. Both of my parents basically grew up in Hawaii. My dad was, my grandfather was in the army, so my dad did move around a lot, but his mom was Hawaiian, and that's where I get my Hawaiian from. But for the most part, he did spend the majority of his youth in Hawaii, and met my mom there, everything. And when we moved out here, I was 3 months old. So as far as I'm concerned, I've always been a San Diegan, even though I don't live in San Diego anymore, for the most part. And I've always considered myself a Californian. And I always kind of kept that quiet. And my mom was like, no, you're Hawaiian. You were born in Hawaii, you're Hawaiian. Now here's the funny thing. My mom was a Hawaiian-born Filipino. So she's just, because she's born in the state, she's technically Hawaiian, all right? Like a Californian, like a Georgian, like a, I don't know, an Oregonian. I think I just like to say the word Oregonian, like that. But I actually have the bloodline. And it was funny because she protects the culture. She protected the culture. She didn't know much about the Filipino culture, so I had to make Filipino friends to learn about it. But that's kind of the sense of aloha. It's the protection. That's the mana. That's the spiritual power that comes for protecting your culture, protecting what you know. But I believe aloha entails so much more. You could be someone that lives in Georgia and completely embody the spirit of aloha. And maybe you've never been to Hawaii and you can, embody the spirit of aloha. I know older siblings never been to Hawaii, and she definitely embodies the spirit of aloha. So I was talking about, how we do different things, right? Where it says here, aloha equals helping others, to say I'm available, sometimes with acts as simple as sharing an umbrella or a meal. Aloha is about giving without expectation of return. It keeps the balance. It maintains the equilibrium. Aloha is the balance. I'm going to come back to that last because I'm going to talk about some things and give you some examples of what, aloha kind of, can represent. So again, it's not just a word. It is a feeling, a way of life. So you might see, depending on where you live or depending on who your neighbor might be, you never know, especially military people, right? Because they travel everywhere. You'll see the sticker, live aloha. And people will be like, how do you live a word? How do you live hello and goodbye? Well, that's why I'm doing this show, to show you that it's more than just hello and goodbye. It's love. It's, again, affection, peace, compassion, mercy. It's more than just a greeting. And it's such a beautiful word because it's such a small word, but to me, it's the smallest word, but it embodies such a large definition, such a large feeling. Because not a lot of words are based in feeling. Not a lot of words, you can't just say, live hello, live goodbye. We can say love and let love. We can say live and let live. And that's kind of the aloha way, right? So instead of saying that, we just say live aloha. Live that feeling, live that compassion, that mercy, that peace, that affection, that love. And when you send somebody off or you welcome somebody in, you're immediately welcoming them in with that love and affection and peace and compassion and mercy, because you don't know what you're welcoming in. Somebody may be having the worst day of their life. They come over to visit you, aloha. And maybe that just changes it. Maybe it just puts Hawaii in their mind and they're like, oh yeah, I like that. You got a Mai Tai? Okay. I know. I don't even know how to make one of those. But, and again, as Queen Liliuokalani is known to have said, aloha is to learn what is not said, to see what cannot be seen, and to know the unknowable. I mean, that sums it up so perfectly. She also wrote the song Aloha Oi. I believe that's the song she wrote. Why is my brain just revolting on me today, or rebelling on me? Like everything I know from my own upbringing, suddenly I'm questioning. But anyways, and I think, there's a lot of people that will say, they'll be like, oh, this people and that people and indoctrinated and yada, yada, yada. And I get that. I understand that. I mean, I live in a state that has Native Americans. I live in a country that has Native Americans. But, I live down the street from a Native American reservation. So, but yeah, exactly, reservation, right? But we can continue to spread aloha. The world is always changing, all right? At one point in the world, at one point in time, Rome pretty much ran 75% or more of this world. I'm just throwing a number out there. I may not even be right, but they ran a lot. I mean, London was named by the Romans. My friend who lives there said all the straight roads that you see were actually Roman roads. All the curvy ones were, he says, they're probably British because they make no sense. And he's British, okay? So those were his words. But I was like, well, the curvy roads are sometimes fun. But he said, yeah, you can always tell the straight roads because they marched them. They had to march them. They're not going to zigzag their guys. They're going to make them tired. But, just a lot of things. But aloha is bigger than that. And you're welcome for your mini history lesson there. I mean, look at England. For at one point, England owned a ton part of the world. Actually, they still kind of do. I know there's a lot of controversy over that. Even Hawaii was part of England at one point until America just kind of swooped in and said, nope. Here's another fun fact. Hawaii is the only state in the Union to have another country's flag in their state flag. Yep. Next time you look at the Hawaiian flag, give it a good gander. Up where our normal stars and stripes would be, it's the Union Jack. So they never forgot their roots, okay? But I mean, not their roots, but their first, we're going to take over roots. So anyways, you don't need any more history lesson on that because we're talking about aloha. But you know what? Maybe that's just it. Because what are the feelings that come up when you think about those things? I mean, we can say all kinds of things, but like I said, the world is constantly changing. The world is constantly moving in different directions. People are always saying, I want this, I want that. But, I think the beauty of Hawaii is that you don't need a passport right now to get there if you live in the United States. And it is the place where you can really kind of, just gas up your spiritual energy. The vibe there is so peaceful if you allow it to be. You could be standing in the middle of a busy intersection, but you can still feel the aloha around you. Now, for the people, I, like I said the other day, had managed to move away from my own cultural upbringing because when I go back there, I had one particular cousin who just loved to bully me because I wasn't living in Hawaii, because I wasn't from Hawaii. And it stuck with me. And that was probably the very first boundary I set. It's like when I didn't have to talk to him anymore, did not. And maybe that was just an insecurity of theirs. I don't know. But as I find myself now at my age, coming back and trying to really understand and just kind of, soak in everything that I was raised within and around, I realized how much I missed because of one person who did not embody the spirit of aloha. No matter where you are, if somebody is new to your country, to your state, to your city, to your neighborhood, just show kindness. Welcome them with aloha. Remember, aloha it's a feeling. It's the love, affection, peace, compassion, and mercy. It's not just hello and goodbye. It's telling people, hey, you know what? You're new here. We get it. We may not become the best of friends, but I want you to know that you are welcome here. That, aloha is on your doorstep. Doorstep. So, and of course, it's also the energy exchange, the giving and receiving of positive energy. Yesterday we talked about ha breathing, right? And the honi inu, which is the, touching noses as a greeting. Like I said, you don't see that a lot in Hawaii anymore, at least not between adults, maybe with the kids. But you do see it very prominently in the Maori tradition in New Zealand. And I think it's a beautiful tradition, I do struggle with, space issues, if you're not invited into my space. But that's my own thing. Those are my own triggers and my own healing part. But I do think it's a beautiful tradition. but that's the exchanging. Or if, like in Hawaii, older sibling can attest to this. Whenever we leave Thanksgiving, because I mean, for the most part, sibling still has an aunt who lives in Colorado, but obviously not that close to California. So my family has become older siblings family. I mean, they even call her Sis Laura. I mean, because when they refer to her, to me, because they know she's my soul sister. And so she comes with me, and whenever we're leaving a family function, I always tell her, we need to leave soon. And that is the cue to start saying goodbye to everybody, because goodbyes, hugs, 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 hugs. And in a way, that's, when you get there, you're hugging everybody and you're exchanging this positive energy, and you're creating an environment that, is just love, which really is aloha. And I don't think I ever thought about it till now. I just thought it was like, hey, this is always what I've done. Let's do it, but now I see it differently. And it's going to mean something differently. When I see my cousin again, when I hug her, it's going to be like, oh, let's exchange some positive energy. And, or when you hug your pets, when you love your babies, your little fur babies, or even your own babies, right? Or your nephews and nieces and all that. It's that exchange of positive energy. And when you're leaving each other with that same energy. You're saying, okay, bye, thank you for everything. And you exchange the positive energies, and you leave one another quite possibly better than maybe you found them earlier in the day. And of course, at the end, aloha has been described as the coordination of the heart and mind to foster connectivity and peace. So, it is, your heart and your brain, right? And right in the middle is that little string, that invisible string of aloha energy that says, poof, I'm going to connect you to. I had a very good journal session this morning, which is another reason why I was about 2 minutes late. And it was about really kind of just controlling everything, right? Just having to feel like I have to be in control of all things. And that's an old habit. It's an old trauma-based habit. And it's because, and it could be anybody, right? You don't have to go through the particular trauma I went through to be somebody who needs to control everything. You may have been the person that basically had to inadvertently raise your baby siblings, or be the responsible one all the time. You're basically an adult when you were 12 years old because your parents put you in charge because you were the oldest. And so, because of that, we learned that we have to control all this because we don't want to disappoint mom and dad, or we have to keep them in line, and we have to do this. And it kind of filters into our brain because, you're so young, you're still in your impressionable years. And, that can also can cause some of the I need to be in control of everything kind of thing. And it keeps us grounded, but it also keeps us from exploring things. It also keeps us from, outside stuff. I had a very personal moment in my journal today, and I won't share it because I don't want to embarrass anybody. But I know, I'm just feeling like it's one of the best examples I can give. But it's also extremely personal, and it's not stuff I normally would talk about, but I'm going to see if I can go with a different example. I know, I got one. For instance, my dad. I have been trying to control his rehabilitation, if you will, because, I do miss home. I miss my cat. I miss my cat a lot. I do get to talk to older sibling, but, she's my cuddle buddy. She's my little shadow when I'm at home. But then I realized, you know what? I get to FaceTime with her. I get to talk to older sibling. I hear George from time to time. And I realized I can't control that. I have to be supportive. I have to show him that I am here, and that, I'm here on my own volition. I'm not here because, you're forcing me to be here. I'm not here because, I feel obligated. I told my dad, if you were an asshole, I wouldn't be here. If you were a terrible parent when I was growing up, I wouldn't be here. But my dad was a great parent growing up. I mean, we weren't perfect, right? Nobody's perfect. But I couldn't have asked for better when I see what other people sometimes have. And I'm grateful for that. And, I have the opportunity now because I'm not working. And because of that, I've been able to be here and help him along and just kind of give him, the minute I started giving him that space and really kind of, we can call it aloha, that love, affection, peace, compassion, mercy, space, he started getting out of his head and he started realizing everything he needs to do to start getting better. And it's working because I let go of the reins. And as far as the other thing I was talking about that I didn't want to talk about because I don't want to embarrass anybody, it wouldn't embarrass me. Trust me when I say this. I've shared stuff like this before. Let's just say that when you stop overthinking and you just give up control and you just go with the flow and you respect the needs of the moment, it works out, and it works out well. And it works out fast, just like that. You can sit there for an hour going, really? And then all of a sudden you're just like, whew, I'm going to embrace this aloha, and bam. You're seeing stars. So anyways, I don't see anybody sharing here about some of their acts of aloha. So I'm going to share some. Sammy, very, very active in her church. That is embracing the spirit of aloha. I think at one point she was basically you took care of the kids, right? And I don't know if you still do, because we haven't really talked about that in a while, but Sammy was very active in the lives of the children of her church, and she's very active, as much as she can be in her church. My cousin Jeannie, in regards to her church, last week she was painting classrooms. And I think the week before they were painting, or maybe the week before that, they were painting something. But, she's being, of service to her church, just like Sammy is, older sibling. We talked about the one of my favorite examples yesterday of when, they were in the South and at the fountains. And that's an act of aloha. Letting a woman know, oh, she worked with kids for about 40 years. They don't have any kids anymore. Oh, all the kids grew up. All the kids grew up. So there you go. But there you go, right? She worked with the kids for like 40 years. That's the spirit of aloha. Like I said, older sibling at the fountain, right? I mean, I go back to that one because that is seriously one of my favorites. I would love to know what that woman, a black woman in the South in the early 60s, watching a child apologize to her for cutting her off and using her fountain, how good that must have made her feel to know, to give her that sense of aloha, that sense of hope. That out there were people who were not prejudiced, were not racist, did not live in a world where they had separate fountains, and that they did not teach their child the difference. That's the difference. That's the aloha. And my cousin painting classrooms. These kids are going to come into a fresh classroom. I don't know about any of you guys, but the fresh smell of paint kind of hits you sideways in a good way because it feels crisp, it feels clean, it feels fresh. And not only that, they weren't being forced to do it. So they're putting their energy into this inanimate object with every brush stroke, with every paint stroke. And those kids are going to embody that. They left the aloha in the room. Older sibling does a lot of other things for a lot of people. I mean, I am probably the biggest example of her really, truly embodying the spirit of aloha, because I'll tell you, there were times when if the word was a solid word, I would have deserved a big paddle upside the head with it. And, I'm not saying I'm a horrible person, but I was a hurt person that hurt people, and I'm not proud of it, but I share it because there's other people out there. It's not always about the person that's standing in front of you. It's about what you cannot heal on the inside. It's what we cannot, find the strength to face. And that's what mana is. Mana gives you that spiritual power to say, hey, look, you know what? You may have some of these dark demons hiding inside of you, but you got to work on them. You've got to heal them. You've got to figure out what you're going to call that inner thing. And, I called mine a floof. I imagined her as the little girl I was that went through this trauma. through the course of the years that it happened and getting older, to where I think we are now one. But that's kind of like my little mana warrior, right? Just, the floof, the mana floof. I got a new name for it, the mana floof. But, and like I said, when we rebalance that spiritual power, whether it's with an active aloha or even the ha breathing, we come back to center. We come back to that equilibrium. And aloha can remind you to do that, because aloha is the most common word out of those 3 words. Aloha is the one that we know, no matter where you live. You hear aloha, you think Hawaii. And when you think Hawaii, think about the spirit that it entails, the energy that it entails. It's like an island Stonehenge, all right, or an island Avebury. And it really is, because there's just, a lot of people go there to just decompress, to have a fun vacation. So not only are people coming there, but the spirit of aloha is kind of just upending them and sending them back better than when they arrived. Not because of anything somebody may have done, but because the island itself offers a refuge. It offers a place to just enjoy, to have fun, to just decompress, to just allow yourself to be, to just soak in all the good energy that the people that have come before him have left, and the people that are there have left. If you are a person that, works in the service, in services in Hawaii, leave it better than you found it. Yeah, sometimes we might have a bad day at work. We might feel like, oh God, this is my life. But your energy and what you leave behind in every room that you might clean, or every service, every table you may serve, that's going to leave a mark on somebody. And it doesn't just have to be Hawaii. It can be anywhere we go. When you go out, whether it's to a restaurant or to a coffee shop or to a bar or to a happy hour place, leave that space better than when you found it. Yeah, there might be people around you that annoy you. I may be speaking from experience, but no, and I mean, sometimes you find other people that just, they think they own the place. Just don't worry about them. Keep your eyes on your own table. Keep your eyes on your own paper. But also, if you see your server dealing with these people, be a little kinder to them, because maybe they may need that. They may need to be reminded that not all people are like those people. That not all people are like, the belligerent ones. Give them hope, give them space, give them aloha. Show them the aloha. It doesn't matter what color you are, what nationality you are, what race, which I guess is nationality you are, what, tall, small, thick, thin, whatever. We all embody the aloha. You don't need to have been to Hawaii to embody the aloha. It's a feeling. It's love, compassion, mercy, peace, affection, and hello and goodbye, all wrapped into one 5-letter word. 5-letter word. So like I said, aloha is a short word with a big feeling and a big meaning. And if we all learn and we all remind ourselves, especially in those moments when we are starting to go dark or we are starting to spiral, that aloha is on our side, it doesn't mean we won't go dark. It doesn't mean we won't spiral. But it means we might recover a little bit faster, because we're reminding ourselves what we're made of. Because from now on, when you hear the word aloha, I really want to ingrain into you the idea of mana, your spiritual power, your inner strength, I think I had another term for it on here. I called it your spiritual strength, or your warrior power. Warrior power. I like that. Your warrior power. Yeah. And then and like I said, if your warrior power feels a little blah, there's the ha. So there's aloha, ha, and mana. Or in the order, aloha, mana, and ha. Or mana, ha, aloha. It can go in any configuration. If your mana's low, You do the Ha breathing. You remember what Ha is about, the breath of life. And then let it bring you back to Aloha. Let it bring you back to that center, that equilibrium, that balance. When you think of Aloha, you can ask yourself, is my mana strong today? Do I need to do some Ha breathing to remind myself of the breath of life, the energy of life? I'm learning a lot too, guys, when doing all this. And it has reminded me, I mean, even Sammy started doing the Ha breathing before I did. I'm loving practicing the Ha every morning. And I love that. She's way over there on the other side of the country. And here I am, and I've only done it once since I talked about it on Tuesday? Shame. Oh no, it was yesterday we did the Ha breathing, but I mentioned it on Monday or Tuesday. And, yeah. So, and remember, the Ha breathing is 7 rounds, but if you don't have time to do 7 rounds, just do a couple, like maybe 2 or 3, okay? Do more than just one. If you don't have time and you just need a quick, to just kind of balance yourself out, you can do 1 round. But remember, it's 7 in, hold for 7, 7 out, hold for 7. That's 1 round. 7 in, hold, 7 out, hold, 1 round. And generally, Kumu Ramsey said to do this for 7 rounds. So, I mean, it's less than 10 minutes of your life, all right? And don't make yourself pass out either, please. Okay? No passing out. Don't make yourself lightheaded. The whole idea of this isn't just to, the focusing in general, in the metaphysical, spiritual, meditative, yoga practice sense. The idea of meditation and the idea of breathing during meditation is to take your mind off of everything around you. It's to help you refocus. That's why they said if you were going to do a meditation, if you were going to do the Ho'oponopono, do the Ha breathing first, because it centers you. It brings you into your balance, even if it's just for that moment that you're doing all these things. But it brings you back. And the more you learn to practice it, the more it just becomes like second nature breathing, right? Except it's timed breathing. We don't think about breathing. We just do it. And at some point when we practice something enough, we just do it. You may be driving down the road. Oh, I got to practice my Ha energy. And a month later, you may just find yourself already doing it, going, and it can be that easy. Remember, you don't have to go by like a 7 seconds. You can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I would say take it a little bit slower. You're going to make yourself pass out. But I mean, it doesn't have to be like 1, 2, 3. It can be if you want it to be. You can do the 7-second thing. I do the 7-second thing. I just do 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you're done. I mean, with the first part. So, yeah. I hope that was helpful. I really enjoyed this week because I learned a lot. I learned that not only are we in charge of our attitude, but we are in control of our attitude. We may not be in control of anything else in our life, because really when you think about it, everything is kind of out of control. Our own control. We can't chokehold things. Even our own lives are sometimes out of our control. But what we can do is remind ourselves in those moments where we feel like we're not in control, check in with your mana. Is my cup full? How can I fill it? Fill it with aloha breathing. And remember, if you're hurting or you're feeling in pain, when you're doing the Ha breathing, on your inhale, imagine the part of you that is feeling out of sorts, whether it's a physical pain or an emotional pain, and send it to that area. Just give it that love, give it that space, and just allow yourself to be. I really truly believe that the spirit of aloha really is just love. I mean, not just love, but if you take the word love, love is aloha. It is that showing of affection, that feeling of peace, that feeling of compassion, that feeling of mercy, and wanting to share it with other people. And when we do that, we can put so much more into this world. And a lot really is needed in this world right now. A lot of love is needed. You know, in our own communities, in our own states, in our own countries. A lot of love is needed. And sometimes in order to combat that, we have to go against what sometimes makes us angry and remind ourselves that, you know, anger isn't always the solution, you know, and there's enough people out there fighting for the things that you know, want them to fight for. So while they're doing that, you be the love warriors, you be the aloha warriors, and you put that energy out there. You put that good mana out there, that good spiritual power out there. And in order to do that, again, you have to make sure that your mana, your cup, your spiritual strength, your spiritual power, your internal power, however you want, whatever you want to call it, you have to make sure that cup is full. So Sammy said she learned a lot this week as well. Oh, thank you. I was really excited to do this week. I'm just going to, again, finish it off with this, with what Queen Liliuokalani once said. Aloha is to learn what is not said, to see what cannot be seen, and to know the unknowable. And for some that might feel a riddle, but all it is her saying, you know what? I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I know what I can add to today. That's what my takeaway is. We don't know what's going to happen next. But whatever it is, we can put that aloha into it, whether it's good or bad. You know, think of it this way. I don't know how many of you out there have seen Monsters, Inc. All right, it's a pretty old cartoon, I think from the early 2000s, maybe the late 90s. I don't remember, whatever it is. But the whole time, they're like, let's go in and scare kids, right? You know, come on. If this is a spoiler alert, I'm sorry. But this movie is not new. It's a Disney cartoon, and it's so much fun. It is so much fun. But, you know, that was their whole thing, right? They had these little canisters. Monsters, Inc. was this company that collected the energy, that fueled the city. And it was about scaring kids. And it was about freaking them out. And that's what they did. It's like, ooh, who's the best scare person on the floor, you know? And then they found out in the end that it was actually the giggles and the laughter of the children that actually supplied more energy. It was the joy and the happiness that put so much more energy out there that it would never be depleted. They didn't have to worry about scaring kids. And you know, there are so many horror movies now and so many kids that I know that love horror movies. I mean, if a monster walked out of their closet, the kid would probably scare the monster. Okay? But I mean, that was the point. Joy and laughter, that aloha feeling. When we put that out into the world, it's so much bigger than anger and hate. So much bigger. And we need more of that. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. I hope you have a fabulous weekend, everybody. I'm going to come back to you on Monday with, where'd it go? Where's my little paper clip? Happiness anchors. I know, I haven't seen this and I'm not going to read it because I want it to be a surprise for me too. But happiness anchors, and then the thing I have right after that is task paralysis. So these are two shows that I apparently wrote down to do and never did because I think I decided to do something else. Grief and other things. So yeah, we went in a whole different direction and I forgot about them. So I really do think though that everything happens for a reason, and maybe learning about aloha, mana, and ha this week is the perfect intro to happiness anchors. We know now how to fill our cups. If we didn't have a better representation of how to fill our cups before, we definitely have one now. So Oh, thank you, Cousin Jeannie. She said, thank you for sharing your aloha with us. And girls, thank you for sharing your aloha with me. Thank you for being on with me this week. It's been a pleasure and a joy to do these shows with you three. And yesterday, baby sibling. It really has. It's been my honor to do this because, I mean, honestly and truthfully, I may be bloodline Hawaiian, but my cousin's more Hawaiian than I am. I mean, she really truly embodies the aloha spirit and aloha culture, and I have learned a lot from her while I've been here. So, on how to just embrace it, and just be. So, there we go. Okay. So now you have it all. Again, have a wonderful, wonderful day, everybody. Have a great and safe weekend. I will see everybody back here Monday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, Facebook Live. All lives are public. Anybody can watch under the Aloha Perspective or Shelly Marie Lucas. You will probably find me more under Shelly Marie Lucas. Monday is a holiday. Son of a bitch. I will see you Tuesday. I totally forgot. Yes, Monday is Labor Day in the United States. So for those of you who watch outside of this country, I will be back Tuesday because, as you know, I always take holidays off. So yeah, have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you back here Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. Thank you, older sibling, for that. And again, have a wonderful, wonderful, and safe day and weekend.